In this video, we will talk about how Bitmine stock can reach $146, maybe already in the next 2 months, if the mNAV, one of the most important metric for Bitmine shares, goes to 4.
Welcome to the game, I'm the wolf of Dubai.
Welcome to another vlog, and if you don't know who I am, my name is Danny and I'm the most watched stock market YouTuber from the Middle East. And I am looking for 10x stocks that can go 10x, 20x or 30x. And I'm doing this totally for free for you here on YouTube. And my longest subscribers, they could already buy apartments like this lady, and this gentleman bought even a house in the US due to my stock picks that I'm talking about here on everyday basis. I choose a stock, I go 1 mile deep in research rather than 1 mile wide. Okay, so this is the whole channel. If you haven't subscribed yet, the return of investment can be pretty big, like these two guys that bought properties due to watching my early Tesla videos, and there's much more people that benefited from my videos in the past by paying nothing and getting all the return. Okay, to pay nothing, watch this video and then get properties, it's a pretty good return of investment. So I'm really approaching you here to make sure to pulverize that subscription button. And there's one more thing. I only advertise my own product here on this channel. I get daily offers of $10, $20, $30,000 to make promotions on, different crypto projects, whatever. I don't do these things, okay? I don't have to do these things. My team and myself developed a X10 day trading AutoPilot software that actually is much better than anything out there, okay? How this works is essentially all done for you, where we choose which trades we send to your portfolio all automatically. This is how it looks like when we make trades. For example, last Friday, we closed an open door trade for 40% and another 40% on Tesla shares. And this comes directly buying and selling into your portfolio. If you have $10,000 or more, check out and make an appointment directly with me, and we see if you can join us as well. Now, when we are talking about the mNAV, we need to first explain you what this is. I love to explain very complicated processes or things on the stock market and make it very simple for you to consume. So I always like to say, if I hear something very complicated, explain it to me like I am a 3-year-old, okay? So here's how I explain it to you. mNAV is a metric, so a number, that takes all the assets that, the company owns, right? In our Bitmine case, it's a lot of Ethereum, and we calculate how much that is, okay? A couple of billions. Now we calculate the market cap of the company, okay? So we see, okay, if you take all of the shares outstanding and multiply it by the stock price, you get the market cap. And then you compare the market cap and the assets under the company and see, okay, is this 1-to-1 valued? So a mNAV 1.0? Is it, valued less than the asset under the company, which would be a mNAV, for example, of 0.75? Or do we have a little bit of a premium, let's say 1.2 mNAV, which would be 20% more than the actual assets under value? Why it is so important for companies like Bitmine? Treasury companies are actually buying crypto and storing it and want to get more and more and more because they see the huge value in this kind of project, okay? Michael Saylor did this for MicroStrategy and even renamed the company to Strategy because they are doing only Bitcoin. And Bitmine is doing under, the leadership of Tom Lee exactly the same, but much faster, much cleaner, because they don't get debt. They issue just shares to the market and then they are getting those Ethereum under the assets of the company. So, and also they're making it extremely faster than MSTR as well. So in my personal opinion, I think generally speaking, Bitmine will do much better than MicroStrategy ever done. And remember, MicroStrategy did a 30x from the lowest point, which was around like, $4 or $5. And if you think about that, then the future is very bright for Bitmine. Now, let's dive into the mNAV, what it currently is, why it's so important, and what I think it could reach by which time. Okay, this is very important for you guys because everybody asking me, okay, you have this crazy price targets, but when this will actually happen? And in this video, I will explain it to you all. So in my opinion, if we're jumping into the presentation that I prepared for you is, I think one of the biggest factor for growth for Bitmine is actually the mNAV. mNAV can be quite significantly because even when everything stays the same and the mNAV goes from, 1 point something to 4, the stock price means is 4 times higher as the assets under the company. Okay, and I believe that there's many reasons that this can happen because this happened in the past as well. I don't giving you spoilers right now because you need to keep watching and you need to be subscribed and smash that notification bell as well because we're producing a video every single day. Our team is extremely hard working on that, and make sure to show a little bit of belonging to the Bitmine army. And by the way, in the comment section, let me know where are you watching from. Okay, I want to see different countries, I want to see different cities, I want to see how much Bitmine you hold. Okay, tell me in the comments. I want to get to know you, I want to get to know to whom I'm speaking to. So do me this favor and let me know in the comments, and smash that like button because for every 100 likes I will buy 50 more Bitmine shares. Okay, I think that nobody is doing it out there. I'm buying in general $3,000 to $5,000 every single day because I don't care if it's a $42 stock or a $40 stock or a $38 stock, because in my personal opinion, I hope that we go a little bit lower because then we can buy more for less. Before end of year, we will have this huge rally. Okay, so I think we are in the moment, and this is never financial advice, guys. Make your own research, make your own strategies, make your own decisions because it's your hard-earned money. Okay, so I believe that now every time I buy the stock at $30, $40, $35, whatever it is, and I hope it goes to 20 and 15, I hope, then I'm thinking all the time I'm buying a share that is 250 worth and will be reaching that goal very soon for just $40. And this is one of the most beautiful thinking that you can have as a long-term investor. Your investment horizon should be at least 3 years from now, not 3 weeks, not next week, not some kind of news about some NASDAQ regulations or some regulations about the sector, because we even saw that this is not even affecting big minds, but those news will come there and this fear and uncertainty will pressure the stock price down as well as the seasonality of the market. But this should only give you one thought: how I personally can buy more Bitcoin. Okay, so let's dive in. So we know now that mNAV could be the biggest factor. So let's calculate first how much mNAV we actually have. And to calculate the mNAV, we need to actually first calculate the NAV, the net asset value. Okay, so we look at first into the Ethereum. We have about $7.31 billion of Ethereum under the belt. And in addition to that, we have $21 million in Bitcoin, which is, from the legacy income producing activity that Bitmine, mining Bitcoins, but in a very small fashion compared to what they're doing with Ethereum. And the third thing, they have also $500 million plus in cash. This is the latest that are given to us on the 25th of August. Maybe this changed tomorrow. But to give some numbers, we need to assume that this is the current state. Now, obviously, I use the current market pricing of Ethereum and Bitcoin as well. Now, that means that we have $7.89 billion in assets divided by the 200 million shares. You are at a NAV per share at 35.64. That means that the current price of $42 is a little higher than that. What does it mean? We will dive into it. Because if you go to the 25th of August, you actually see that we went lower in the NAV, okay? They reported a 39 NAV. It went down to $35. That means that the prices for the assets for Bitcoin and Ethereum, and obviously much more from Ethereum than from the Bitcoin holding, but Ethereum went down, so the NAV per share goes down as well. well. To calculate now the mNAV, you need to take the stock price divided by the NAV, which then gives you a 1.17 mNAV. That means that for every Ethereum that they're holding, for every dollar in Ethereum that they're holding, you're paying about a 17% premium. And why you would pay premium in the first place? Well, you're paying for the actively managed way they buy more and more Ethereum. Remember, when they started with a NAV of $4 and now they have a NAV of $35. So that almost 10x the assets in just 2 months. So let's say they continue that, okay? So that means that in 2 months, we could have a NAV of $70. And I don't think the company will trade much lower than the NAV itself. That means that the stock price could hit in 2 months or like 1 month, or depending when they can increase, if they can keep the speed of increasing the NAV over the next 2 months in the same fashion, then we could see a NAV of $70, which then is very hard for the stock to not be $60 or $70 in the first place, okay? Think about that. Now, obviously, everything goes up and down by Ethereum. And if you're looking into the Ethereum performance, we had, historically speaking, the best performance in Q3. As you can see, we went up 83%. And statistically, when we had the huge green months, like in 2011, the next quarter was another big quarter. 2020, the same. Q3 was 60% and Q4 was even over 100%. Or 2017, 9% up in the Q3, 143% in Q4. So you can assume that Q4 will be massive for Ethereum. Now let's talk about MicroStrategy. Okay, MicroStrategy has a website where you can check the current mNAV every single day, every single minute. And as you look into this mNAV, you see that their mNAV is actually 1.56. That means that you are paying a 56% premium to their holding in Bitcoin. So much more than Bitmine. And as I said, the Bitmine way of doing it is much more cleaner and is much more faster. Now, if you're looking to the mNAV premium, it went even to 4 end of September. So let's dive into the chart of mNAV. Here in this chart, you actually can see that the mNAV goes up and down for treasury company. Why is that? Okay, why this changes so much over, a whole year? Well, there's a couple of reasons. Let's say one reason could be crypto going absolutely crazy or tanking. Then obviously the leverage that the treasury company has is also going that direction. So let's say if crypto going up and the company stock going even higher, then you see that the multiply on the mNAV goes higher and higher. Okay, so which is great for companies like Bitmine. This means that if we see a huge run on Ethereum like we have seen before, you see that the mNAV can be quite explosive. And that's why I think this is such an important metric when you're investing in Ethereum companies. Okay, so what was the highest ever recorded mNAV for Strategy? It was 4. We are at 1.17 for Bitmine. Way more up to go. I personally, if that ever happens in the next couple of weeks, and let's say mNAV of 4, 5, 6, I would start to sell Bitmine a little bit. Okay, so I think that this will be actually a good way to take a little bit off, because that is obviously quite, let's say, explosive, but this is how the stock market works. Okay, there is hype, there is story, and there is like all the people that are negative now or short sellers as well, they have to buy more Bitmine shares. And that's why I think that this is a very interesting point to take off a little bit of the cake when you already 5x your or 6x your investment. So that's number one. So what are other reasons that actually could increase the mNAV for Bitmine? Here are a couple of reasons why that could happen. First, the speed of accumulation of buying Ethereum could make the premium higher and higher for Bitmine shares, because everyone is like, wow, these guys are going going crazy. They are doing really everything to get the 5% off Ethereum. And that means that people would buy and buy and buy the stock, which then increases the mNAV compared to the NAV, that also slowly getting higher, but then the premium on the stock gets a little bit higher even, okay? So the mNAV usually grows much faster than the NAV of the company. Moreover, there could be a lot of institutional companies that actually think that, well, Bitmine is an actually very fantastic way to hold Ethereum, because they holding Ethereum, they actively managing it, and they are increasing Ethereum. So you get much more Ethereum for one-time purchase of the company. So that's why, for example, Tom Lee always says for institutions, it's much better to buy MicroStrategy rather than Bitcoin itself. Then obviously for what we all waiting for, when they start to stake Ethereum and they get income, I think that will absolutely be huge. And that's why the stock price can outdrive the overall NAV very much. And that's why the mNAV could be going crazy towards 4. And then you have obviously the flywheel dynamics, okay? We buy more ETH going up, you know, everybody gets more comfort with Bitmine, and that increases the stock price, which then increases the mNAV, and so on and so forth, okay? Now, what that actually would mean in numbers and when this could happen, okay? So let's calculate that. We are currently with $42 at the mNAV of 1.17. So again, a 17% premium on how much Ethereum in dollars they are holding. If mNAV goes to 4, like it did for MicroStrategy in the last September rally. September, you remember September, which months we are in? Yeah. And that 4 mNAV happened, you know, drum roll, in September as well. That's why I'm saying, you know, maybe we have the chance of 2 months of accumulating, but then it's over, guys. Okay, then it will run away. Okay, and before we diving into the stock price of Bitmine, make sure to check out Extend Day Trading. If you want us trading for you, all the buying, the selling like professional day traders. Okay, the same entry, the same exits, the same result with our software, all done for you. You just have to switch it on. And our members are extremely happy, like this guy or this person. So make sure to go on extenddaytrading.com. If you have $10,000 or more, schedule a call and I see you personally. The call will be with me personally. We see if we can help you as well. At 4 would bring our, and I cannot stop smiling, okay? Brings our BMNR stock price to 143.6. Beautiful. More than 3x from here. And I think that could very much happen in the next 2 months, maybe 3 months. Or let's say my end of the year goal is really between 150 to 250. I think this is super realistic with everything is what is going on and everything. So I want to show you one more thing before we leave. One more thing. And it will just, you know, take a couple of minutes of yours. We will go and deep dive how this mNAV of 4 for MicroStrategy happened. Okay, we will go back into the past and look what actually happened. Let's go. So as you can see, we need to go 2 years back to MicroStrategy. Okay, 2 years back. So September. So we cover actually September of 2024. Okay. 2 years ago, the stock was at 35. Very similar to where Bitmine is now, guys. Okay, so very interesting. Anyway, so let's look into what happened to September. Beginning of September, you know, MicroStrategy went absolute ballistic until about beginning of December, okay? End of November. 250% increase. And you know what is the amazing thing about this? And if it happened to Bitmine as well, once it reached $400 per share, the lowest point after that was minus 43%, which means that they never went lower than 240. And that was around like March, you know, around like Liberation Day momentum, okay? So, and since then, you know, the stock went up another 80% run. And if you consider the current price, we are like 33% premium. And this is what I always tell you guys. Stocks are volatile. It's normal that Bitmine goes from 30 to 70 back to 40, and hopefully it goes to 20 so I can load the boat, okay? This is totally normal. It's not only for MicroStrategy, but also for Nvidia or Tesla or Palantir. It's totally normal for the stock market to be volatile. volatile. Don't lose hope when the stock goes down, because this is always an opportunity to buy beautiful companies at the very, very amazing prices. Okay, very, very important in investing. One of the most important things in investing. Now, I want to also show you, because mNAV that I calculated for you, the $143.6, is valid when Ethereum does nothing. It will stay at 4,300 and just the mNAV will go up. Okay, for some reason, Bitmine shares go crazy, much more higher, and Ethereum will do nothing. But if Ethereum goes higher as well, then the price target should not be 143, but maybe my higher price target of 250. Okay, because look at that. If you now look into Bitcoin, okay, what did Bitcoin did in the same period? In the same period, on the 6th of September till end or mid of December, it went on a huge run of 80%. So in this case, you can really see how potential this is. Ethereum goes up, Bitcoin goes up in much, much higher until you reach an approximately mNAV of 4, and this is the huge case and the huge opportunity here for this stock. Let me know what you think in the comments. Check out x10daytrading.com, and I see you obviously tomorrow for a brand new video. And remember, the grass is greener on the other side.